What's up, everyone? I'm Jason. First off, I'm not your lawyer. Today we've got a special broadcast. This goes out to Charlie. Charlie, this is for you. Now listen, I'm not hating. Nobody's hating. Everybody's trying to help you here. But we got a problem, and the problem is you're gonna end up in prison again. And nobody wants that. All right. So I'm not your attorney. I'm not. You've got good attorneys. You're paying money to these attorneys. Obviously, they've told you this stuff. But maybe you just need to hear it from someone else that's just looking out for you. Okay? Jason Granger is not here to help you. In the words of, Garth, if Jason Granger was an ice cream flavor, he'd be pralines and dick. And you need to know that. So on today's show, we're going to go through the prospectus. We're going to go through the things that you've said. And then we're going to go through the AMA you had today. Where you've made more statements in the world about what it is that you're selling and who those statements you made them to, and it's not good. It's just not good. So we're gonna get to it. We got a couple of viewers right now in the Exotica log. I'll be taking questions, and look, if anybody wants to Skype in. Listen, my Skype ID is FJ_Seibert, SEIBERT_LLC. I will put you live on the air right now if you want to Skype in. Charlie, if you're out there and you're listening, that's my Skype ID. I'll even put it up on the Exotica log. And we can Skype in. We can talk right now. In fact, hold on a second. I bet I can even figure out how to put this up here, can't I? Oh yes, we're gonna do this. First, let's bring up our Granger Danger cam. Thank you, Gavin, for the t-shirt, fits great. We're gonna bring up the AMA. Charlie, I wanna hear from you. I'm here to help you. I am. I'm going to put my Skype address up here. I got to figure this out. It'll take me a second. There it is. I need to change that. There it is. That's my Skype ID, Charlie. Call in. I'll take your call. We'll get it set up. And we can have a one-on-one with everyone watching, and we'll talk about it. I want to hear how you think this is okay. That's what I want. I want to hear why you think what you're doing isn't going to land you in jail. I want to hear that argument from you, because I think you're going to end up in jail. And that's not just me as like some guy on the street. This is what I do. Right, I'm a securities lawyer, and there's all kinds of problems happening here. So, with that in mind, let's examine the AMA you had today, shall we? Just for a second, we're going to bring it up here. See if I can do this right. There it is. Okay, let's zoom in on that a little bit. All right, Main Street Investments. A Cayman Island limited partnership. Now listen, all of this was set up by Granger, okay? We know you didn't have anything to do with this. So just setting up a Cayman Island partnership doesn't mean that insulates you from U.S. jurisdictional regulations, from administrative law, from criminal law. It's just an extra layer, but that doesn't protect you from going to jail. Let's just start there, all right? Now, having Main Street Investments be the company that you're working for doesn't insulate you from the Intelisys offering, okay? Because you're managing it. Your name's all over it. You're out there selling it. You're pushing it. So that means you're making material statements in connection with the sale of a security. That's you making the statements. In fact, you're in the AMA answering people's questions. And people are relying on those statements, Charlie. Yeah, they're relying on your statements to buy this stuff. This is tough for me. You need to keep your mouth shut, Charlie. You just got to stop talking. That's tough. But you got to shut up, man. Everything you say, every time you say it, somebody's writing that down. It's a record. This entire Reddit commentary about everything that you said is a record. It's a public record against you that they will use to help put you in jail. It's tough. Be the CTO, right? CTOs don't talk to investors. CTOs don't do what you're doing. Just sit in the background and let Granger take all the brunt, right? Let Granger take all. Look, you're running away. See how you're running away here? You need to run away. Just sit in the background, be quiet, let Granger say everything. If you do that, it's going to help. But you haven't been doing that. You've been out there. You've been out front. So let's look at some of the things. Let's look at some of the things that you said here. So we have Mullinim asked a series of really good questions here. If Intelisys is a general partner, can they accept more investors at any time? It talks about how the prospectus is purchasing a ma and pa sanitary waste company. Problematic at best. On page 4, more than half of the employees are listed as confidential, including the investment director. This is really key here, isn't it? This is a material omission, right? More than half of the employees are listed as confidential, including the investment director. How can your investment director be confidential? How can your investment director be confidential? Again, if you don't see a problem with that, you need to stop. You need to stop. You need to run away. All right. Number 4, Charlie Shrem recently interviewed with Block Channel stating that he did not like Ethereum and would migrate his projects away from it to another blockchain as soon as one became available and capable. Now, listen, Charlie, you're here. You're here to sell Ethereum. You're here. This is your whole purpose, all right? Even if you are on board with this, and even if you are here to sell, your job is to sell the Ethereum connection. Now, just from a practical standpoint, you don't want to tell people, hey, the very platform that you're going to invest on could die someday. So we really don't like Ethereum, but we're using Ethereum. That's just poor salesmanship. But even worse is, why would anybody want to invest in it if it's going to steal their money? Unless that's your whole point, is that this is just a disclosure ahead of time saying, hey, by the way, it's all going to crash and we're going to steal your money. And then we're just going to say that it's Ethereum's fault. And maybe they'll hard fork like the DAO. I mean, if that's your plan, it's already been done. I don't know how this is original, but I mean, I could see where maybe that's what's going on. If that's the case, they're still going to come after you because you're associated with it. You can't escape that. Now, on page 6 of the ITO, the initial token offering, it states that see principal terms in reference to the ownership of Main Street. But this person asks very clearly, can you point to the section in Main Street where it clarifies that? Because the point is, it doesn't clarify. It just doesn't clarify it. Okay, so with that in mind, we get to the next section of comments. Amiga 500 plus 1 meg. By the way, the Amiga was awesome. Says too long, didn't read, just shut up and give us your money. And, you know, that's a good response. Now, Charlie, here's your first response, and thanks for taking the time to be detailed, because if I'm a regulator, if I'm the FBI, I love the fact that you took the time to put these bulleted responses out, and it's just a clear record. Under Bitcoin Charlie, you respond, yeah, we're providing an opportunity to implement a token swap in the future for a larger equity raise. So not only are you offering one security, but you're making the promise that later there's going to be an equity swap or another instrument that could be used. Is that in your prospectus? I didn't see it in the prospectus. I didn't. And I didn't see it on Main Street. And I mean, maybe it's there. Call me. My Skype ID is right here, right? FJ Cybert _ LLC. That's my Skype in. Anybody wants to Skype in, I'll take a call. Maybe we can figure this out. Number two, going back. I mean, this is like a terrible episode of like Tosh, isn't it? This is Tosh 0.0, but with Charlie. All right, number two, the company isn't quite that small to be ma and pa, but many of the other companies in the pipeline are more akin to that. All right, so what we're looking at here is what people want, Charlie, is they want details of what you're going to invest in. How are you going to take their money, and what are you going to do with it? Okay, now, this is a good question, and this is what's called material information or disclosure, okay? Disclosure. Disclosure is important because it's what people rely on when they make their decision to invest. Yeah. And if you fail to disclose material information, that's called securities fraud. So whoever told you it was a good idea to keep the company information confidential prior to the acquisition of it, they're omitting material information. Just saying, hey, trust me, it's going to be fine. It's what's called a blank check offering, and that's not good. That's not disclosure, right? So already we have material omissions in connection with the sale of a security, and that's called fraud. It's called fraud. All right, so the answer. So the question number 3 up here is on page 4. More than half the employees are listed as confidential, including the investment director. And down here, your response is, we have a team that we've been working on recruiting, but they are all currently employed. Depending on the size of the fund, we'll bring them in as necessary. Okay. So what that means is, what that means is you don't have an investment director, okay? You say that you have an investment director, but you don't have an investment director. Again, that's a materially false statement. You know why it matters who the investment director is? It matters because people care who's handling their money. And that's kind of important. Who has my money? Who's directing my investments? What kind of criminal history do they have? You know, Art Nadel, who was the investment director for the Valhalla funds, he was disbarred by the New York Bar Association for stealing client trust fund money to pay off loan sharks. That was in the New York Bar's disbarment order. They actually said for stealing client trust fund money to pay off loan sharks. And Art Nadel was listed as the investment director, but nobody listed that he had ever been disbarred for paying off loan sharks. That's the kind of material information that people care about. And when you don't list that, people get upset. They get upset. So not even telling them that you don't have an investment director because they're all currently employed by somebody else. But on the other hand, you say that you have one, Dude, these are materially false statements. It doesn't even fall into alternative facts. It's just false. Anytime you have a false statement in connection with the sale of security, it's fraud. Now, that exception that you're counting on, your Reg S exception, to be able to have a foreign company sell securities in the United States, so long as the securities are sold outside the U.S., they're all predicated on certain exceptions, right? But there is no exception for fraud. Once fraud's involved, regardless of who you're selling to, they'll come and get you. Okay? It doesn't matter. You have the Cayman Island connection. It doesn't matter that you're selling overseas. You're selling securities with fraudulent statements. There's no exemption for fraud. Just say that with me. There's no exemption for fraud. FJ Cybert _ LLC. That's my Skype ID, Charlie. Call me. I'm trying to help you. The founders of Ethereum are very good friends of mine. This is Charlie speaking here, and Ethereum was the first non-Bitcoin crypto asset I ever bought. Ethereum has many attack vectors like other technologies, and in the past year it's struggled and overcome them. Regardless, we chose Ethereum as our platform. Why? Because it's the best we have, and I want to show a real-world utility of what can be done on the blockchain. You know what? Let me just say this. You don't have to sell securities on the blockchain to sell securities. Charlie, you don't. People have been doing it for centuries without the use of the blockchain. And the only reason you're involved is for your connection with Bitcoin. I think Chris and Junster tried to tell you that, and you didn't hear them. Nobody gives two shits about a garbage company in Minnesota or wherever the fuck it is. Nobody wants to buy that. There's not a single goddamn person in South America, South Africa, Indonesia, Great Britain, Scotland, Hong Kong. Nobody gives two fucks, not even one dusty fart, about a garbage company in Minnesota. The only thing they care about is that they get to buy a security on the Ethereum blockchain. And because you're pumping it. You must know that. You have to know that. And if you don't, please just think about it, because if you're going to go to jail for something, you got to be informed why. Sorry, it's just... Oh, this is priceless. Can you guys read that okay? In the Exotica forum, can you read this sentence? Yes. Our notes are from our attorneys. This is standard language for any time of investment. That should be any type of investment. And I think we all wish we didn't have to live in such a complex legal world. Our notes are from our attorneys. Yeah, that's called disclaimer language, and it's called language that's designed to try to keep your ass out of jail. It's not standard language. It should be customized for you. It shouldn't be... it shouldn't just be cut and paste in, man. If you paid $250,000 for cut and pasted language, you need to get your money back. It's that simple. All right, let's do this. I've been going for about 20 minutes now. I'm going to take just a brief break. It looks like there's some folks that are saying they might be suffering a delay in the broadcast. I'm gonna take a pause. I'm gonna take a leak. I'm gonna come back. Hopefully by that time, Charlie, you'll jump in Skype. Um, we're gonna keep going into this. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna keep analyzing the AMA. You did an AMA today, Charlie. That wasn't necessarily a good idea, but it's what we got. I'll be back in 5. I'm gonna pump up the music while you're waiting.